Hello and welcome to part 3 of the paper cartridge tutorial series. This one's going to cover the 31 caliber pocket revolver cartridges, like for your Colt 1849 or any other 31 caliber pocket sized percussion pistol. So let's get started. Right, so here's our 31 caliber paper cartridge kit. Let's see what's inside of it. Alright, so we've got a small funnel that comes with the kit. We've got our forming mandrel and die, and then we've got a couple of templates. This little one here is for the envelope, and this one's for the bottom piece. Okay, and we'll just trace those and cut them out. All right, so what I like to use for cartridges is either a tissue paper like this that you might find in a kind of gift wrap section of a store, or coffee filters also work. They're a little bit thicker paper, a little more robust. Either one works fine. It's really just up to your personal preference. So let me go ahead and cut out a couple of envelope pieces here, and we'll get started on making the cartridges. Okay, now that I've got the pieces cut out, let's go ahead and start making these. Now, 31 caliber is really pretty small compared to the rest of the revolvers, like a 36 or a 44. So this mandrel's only got one cut guide, and that's for a 10 grain charge. So let's take our little envelope here, and I'm going to hold it with the thumb of my left hand and take my index finger of my right hand and just wrap it around the mandrel here. Okay, simple as that. And I'm going to use water glass as my glue for this. This is a pretty flammable glue that you can find on Amazon. It's not too expensive. And we'll apply it with a brush. I find I like water glass for this because it brushes on easily. It's sticky for the paper, but it's not sticky really for your fingers or for the tool. So we'll go ahead and wrap it now that we've applied the glue. Okay. You want to try to keep it as tight as you can. And if you mess up, you can kind of just do it again. No big deal. Okay. All right. And we press that on, and we'll take our die and our bottom piece, and we'll just put it as centered as we can over the hole in the die. And now I'm going to apply more water glass to the bottom of the cartridge here. Okay. And now we will press it into our die. All right. And to separate these, you'll want to kind of gently twist and pull them apart. So we'll twist slowly and pull. Okay, and we've got a nice, well-formed cartridge. Let's remove it. That's the basic technique. All right, now that I've got two envelopes formed, we'll start to charge these with powder. I want to go over the bullets that I'm going to be using here first. First, we'll be using a .323 round ball. That's just cast with a little sprue on top. We'll make sure the sprue's facing up. And then we'll be using a Air is Gone 31 Colts conical here. So I'll show you how to do it with both. Now, because these are so small, they don't really stand freely on their own, like the larger cartridges do, maybe a 36 or 44. They kind of do, but it's a little bit risky. So what we'll do is set our die down, put the cartridge in the die, and the next thing that I'll do, you can certainly use an adjustable powder measure for this, but I prefer to just use a flask. And I've got this kit. With just multiple flask spout sizes. So they go from 10 grains all the way up to 35 in 5 grain increments. So I'm going to select the 10 grain here because all we need is a 10 grain charge. And we'll just install that on our flask. Okay. And for this, I'm going to use the funnel because, again, they're tiny. And the funnel will just come in handy enough to let us fill this without too much trouble. So we'll charge our little tiny 10 grain spout for the charge. Slowly lift our funnel out, and we've got a nice clean powder charge there. So let's do our round ball first. I'll take the water glass, and then I'm just going to lightly apply a coat to the inside of the cartridge. Okay, you can see it kind of sticking to the inside walls. These very small cartridges can be kind of difficult to do. Okay, we've got some water glass inside. Now we're going to take our ball, sprue up, and we'll gently place it right there. Okay, I'm going to lift it out, and I'm going to just gently swipe my thumb upwards. I'm kind of pressing on the paper, and I'm swiping it upwards along the sides of that ball. Okay, we want to try to make a nice kind of seal around the top of the cartridge. And if we need more glue, we can always take our brush and brush a little more water glass on it. In this case, we don't really need to. So that's done. That's a 10 grain charge under a round ball for your 36 pockets. Now let's do the conical. I'll do the same thing. I'll just place the cartridge envelope in the die. We'll take our funnel and we'll gently put it inside. Charge it. Slowly lift our funnel out. Okay. And now we'll do the same thing we did last time. We'll just take our brush and we'll just gently apply the water glass glue to the inside of our cartridge. You can be pretty generous with this stuff because it's flammable and it's not going to affect your powder really. You just might want to make sure you have enough to hold that bullet in place. All right. So now we'll take our conical. And what I like to do is start with one edge and then kind of at an angle and seat it down. So we'll take it at an angle, press it in. And now we'll take my kind of thumb and forefinger and roll it. And I'll sort of drag up the sides a bit. And this one needs more glue, it looks like. So we will take our brush and we'll just brush on as much water glass as we need. Just around that seam. And that way we got plenty of glue to seal the top of the cartridge onto our bullet. All right, perfect. So now there's our finished 10 grain charge under a conical. Put the lid back on our glue. And we'll let these guys dry. And when they're dry, we'll move on to the next step. Okay, now we're on to the next and really last step of making these cartridges. First, we'll take our lube. And this is a 50-50 mix of just beeswax and lamb tallow. Okay, so now we'll just let this melt down. All right, and now we'll do our last step, which is just to dip the bullets. Here we've got our 31 caliber conical and our round ball that we've made up. First, I'll just dip the conical. It's very, very easy. Just dip it for a little bit. A half a second is all you need. And that's it. We'll just roll it around a bit to let the lube distribute evenly, more or less. Doesn't have to be perfect. And then we'll just set that one down. And we'll do our round ball the same way. Just dip it for a little bit. Roll it around a bit. It's done. Should dry very quickly. And it's as simple as that. All right, and that about does it for our 31 caliber paper cartridge tutorial. I hope this video was helpful to you. If you'd like any more gear like this, I've got the flask spout kit to go with your powder flask. And then if you need a place to put your paper cartridges, I've got 5-shot 31 caliber paper cartridge boxes just like this one on offer. All right, and that's about it. I'll see you in the next video.